always good to be here, and I also couldn't help but think about former Congressman Lane Evans as I was sitting here. He was someone that I admired and had a chance to work with in the past. Thank you so for putting this together, making this happen, and to all of you for coming out on Labor Day to be with us. I am honored to be here amongst you on behalf of what really made this country great, working people, men and women, people who did their best, gave their best, served their country, helped to create the middle class, which is one of the best inventions that the United States ever gave to ourselves and the world. And it would not have happened without the American labor movement. So I know, standing here before you, that one of my principal jobs as your president will be to defend the right to organize and bargain collectively. Dave Lopes absolutely right. We're going to need more Democrats in Congress. And we're going to need people like him. He is the last Democrat in the federal delegation from Iowa. Some of you from Iowa know that.
That's man standing.
We lost Tom Harkin, a great senator, someone that Dick and I were privileged to serve with. So we've got to help your neighbor across the river elect more Democrats, starting by sending Dave back to the Congress. And Dave, it means the world to me to have you endorse me and caucus for me. And I think you're awfully lucky to have Sherry representing you. Her determination, her energy, her smarts. I have watched her rise. I was thrilled when she was elected. I can't wait to work with her on behalf of all of you. And let's really do the right thing by getting everybody you know. And I mean this. When you leave here today and we all get back into the busyness of our lives, talk to your friends, your neighbors, your family, people you work with about Tammy Duckworth and why she should be the next senator from Illinois. I cannot imagine anybody who can better represent the dreams and aspirations of the people of Illinois. And we know enough about her that she is dogged, she's determined, she doesn't give up. She'll take on anybody, anytime, anywhere on behalf of her values and the causes and people she believes in. So please, before you leave today, commit to doing everything you can to making her the next senator. And I know Dick Durbin will be happy about that. He has been the biggest advocate for Tammy for all those 12 years. I can remember when he talked to some of us in the Senate about this amazing young woman who was going to run for Congress. You know, you're lucky to have Senator Durbin representing. He has the best combination of the head and the heart that you can find. He's obviously incredibly smart, but he also really feels things deeply. And I can't wait to work with him. I enjoyed working with him when I was in the Senate for 8 years. And I'm really looking forward to working with him when he represents you and we fight together to make sure that our country lives up to the dreams that we should be able to offer to every one of our people. You know, I'm running for president because I believe that we have a very big challenge facing us right now. We've got to have a Democrat in the White House come January 20th. It's not just because I am one, and not because I'm running to be the one. Just look at what works best for America. America does better. The economy does better. Now, it's quite unfortunate that in the last 35 years we've had 5 presidents, 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. I happen to know both the Democrats. Each of them inherited big problems from their Republican predecessors. I think the Republican Party is kind of banking on a case of collective amnesia, so we don't remember. But I remember. And I remember when my husband got into office and all of a sudden he got the real information about what the deficit was and how the Republicans had quadrupled the debt and all the other problems we faced in the economy. He said, no, it's so much worse than they told us. And then he got to work. And it wasn't easy. It never is. But at the end of 8 years, we not only had 23 million new jobs, people's incomes went up from the bottom to the middle, not just at the top. And there was an sense that we were going to be in charge of our destiny going forward. We were going to be able to invest in more opportunities for more Americans. I joined the Senate in 2001, and I saw from the get-go that what the new president wanted to do, along with his Republican allies, was not just turn the clock back on an economy that was working better for hardworking Americans, but literally to turn the clock back on what built the middle class, going back as far as they could. And I saw it. I spoke out against it. I gave speeches on the Senate floor and every other place I could get, basically making the argument, don't let them go back to trickle-down economics. Don't let them impose their failed economic policies on us again. Don't let them turn their backs on what works in America. Well, you know what happened. 2008, after the election, President-elect Obama called me, asked me to come to Chicago to meet with him. I didn't know why. Turns out he wanted me to be Secretary of State, but before we had that conversation, he says to me, it's so much worse than they told us. We were losing 800,000 jobs a month. We could have had a Great Depression instead of a Great Recession. It was not easy digging ourselves out of that hole. The American people did most of the digging. People worked hard, took second jobs, did second shifts, did everything we could to try to get back up on our feet. And I do think President Obama deserves more credit than he gets. And why is that? Because the debt is stacked in favor of those at the top. In fact, the debt is rigged in favor of those at the top. We cannot get back to where we need to be, where incomes rise again, where people feel that they've got a future, not just for themselves, but for their kids, unless we go on against what is happening in Washington day in and day out. It is not going to be easy to do. But I believe I've got the vision, the policies, the skill, the tenacity, and the determination to get what I intend to do as your president is to raise incomes. That is the defining economic challenge we face. Obviously, we have to raise the minimum wage. There's no doubt about that. And it's got to go up so that people have a decent life and they work full-time and they're not still in poverty. But that's not enough.
Equal pay.
We got to get equal pay for equal. And you realize that we're stalled for a lot of people. One of the reasons is because women who are working hard are not getting paid equally. This is not a woman's issue, it's a family issue. This is an economic issue. And we're going to fight until we finally break through the barriers to equal pay for equal work. We need to make it possible for women and men and young families to be able to work by having affordable quality child care, by having earned paid sick days, paid family leave, the kind of support that they need to be able to go to work and stay at work. There's no doubt that we can create more jobs, but we got to make it easier for people who are caring for babies or caring for aging relatives to be able to take those jobs. I was very proud that President Obama said today he is going to require federal contractors to provide 7 days of earned paid sick leave. And he's going to fight for paid family leave, something that I've been fighting for 30 years, and we're going to get it done. It's not right to treat working people as though they don't have other responsibilities. And on the very first day in office, I'm going to get to work to reverse the incredible pressures on the working people of America, particularly those in unions or trying to form unions, that has been the Republican mantra, supported by their allies in the private sector. We're going to go back to enforcing labor laws. I'm going to make sure that some employers go to jail for wage theft. And we're going to make it harder and harder to stop what should be the right of every American to join a union and bargain collectively through that union. But I'll tell you, we've got a fight on our hands, don't we? Because we've got too many governors, Republican governors. You know what's happening in Wisconsin. You know what's happening in Illinois, for God's sakes. So we can't just wring our hands and argue about it. We've got to organize ourselves. And we have to make Republicans pay a price at the polls. Protect your pensions. You bargained for those pensions. You deserve to have and I will defend Social Security against these really mean-spirited ideas about privatizing Social Security. So, I'm running for president because I know we got to fight together to get back what really made this country what we all love and cherish, what Kennedy sacrificed for. You know, I'm the granddaughter of a factory worker. He worked in the mills in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the lace mills, every day. And he worked hard because he knew in his heart his hard work would pay off for his children. And it did. You know, my dad, he got to go and graduate from college. My mom didn't. You know, my mom had a terrible childhood. She was abandoned by her own parents, rejected by her grandparents. By the age of 14, she was working as a housemaid to support herself. And yet, this country provided opportunities to both of them. And I'm standing here in front of you because of their hard work, but also because America had their backs. We need to believe again that we're all in this together. We need to work to make sure that we give every child in America the same opportunity. But I'll tell you, I'm a new grandmother, and it's the best thing in the world. Our granddaughter's going to turn 1 at the end of this month. And, you know, Bill and I are just ridiculous about it. Literally, I mean, you know, she learned how to clap and gave her a standing ovation. But for those of you who are part of this club, this grandparents club, something happens to you. And here's how I would describe it. You get young again. Yeah, you smile all the time. It doesn't matter what else is going on in the world. You just can't help it. But you also live very much in the present because you're watching this miracle of life unfold. But you also think, okay, we're going to do everything we can to give her the opportunities that we want her to have, and we hope she'll have the character and the work ethic to take advantage of them. But what about the country? she's going to grow up. What about the world that's waiting out there for her? We have an obligation, not just to our own children and grandchildren, but to every child in America. You see, I don't believe that you should have to be the grandchild of a former president to be able to make the most out of your talent and your hard work. I think you should be able to be the granddaughter of a factory worker or a grandson of a trucker. You should be able to believe that you will go as